What's going on, everybody? I got one question for you guys, just one. If you had the opportunity to buy your dream car, would you do it? All right, guys, so welcome back to the channel. You know me, it's Napoleon. There's a couple things I do want to talk about when it comes to the GTR. I want to first thank my wife, because she was pretty much the one that encouraged me and let me know that it was attainable. She helped me get the money that I needed to actually get this imported, along with you know, the importing company that we'll discuss in a little bit. And we were able to actually get this thing imported. It was something that I've always wanted ever since I could remember. It's always been an R34, but a Skyline is a Skyline. They're all pretty much the same, except for 6-speed, year, you know, squareness, you know, that type of stuff. But as everybody knows, the R34 GTR is almost unattainable now. Like, they're 100 grand, 150 grand, 112 grand, you know, it's 100 plus. If you get one from Japan right now, before they're actually legal, it's probably somewhere in the $70,000–$80,000 range. So, you know, God only knows, you know, how much you're actually going to spend for one of those cars. But we opted to stick with the R33 GTR because of a couple reasons. One, because of the exclusivity. To be honest, the R33 GTR is one of those cars that people just hate on, and I actually really like it. I've always loved the R33 GTR, and it's been something that, you know, obviously every boy, guy, person, car person, everybody wants this car, just because you can't have it. So that's one of the reasons why I really wanted it. Second reason is just because it's actually legal. 25 years, you know, it became legal, and I had to have one, no matter what it kind of costs. I had a limit, obviously, but thank goodness it didn't surpass that, so I was really happy about that. But yeah, so this is where we're gonna start talking about the importing and stuff like that. So, you know, I asked everybody before, if you could buy your dream car or import your dream car, however you want to say it, would you do it? My answer, obviously, yes. And I encourage everybody that's actually, you know, could actually afford to get one of these cars, just buy one, man. Like, even if you let it sit, like, you know, Ivy over here, Ivy sits, I don't know, it's probably sat for 2 years or something like that. But in those 2 years, everybody wants to know what's going on with it. Everybody, like, wants to see it, wants to touch it, you know, and like, they want to ride in it. It's all that jazz, you know, like, you know the drill. Like, you don't see a car for a long amount of time, people still know I have this car, but they have no idea what kind of transformations, what's going on with it. All they know is that I have an Evo, and it's quick, you know what I mean? So, which we explored in a couple other videos. It's the car is done, but, you know, that's more for another video. But onto the GTR, it's something that I've always wanted. And you know, when I got the opportunity to get one, I spoke to I don't know, if I had to guess, I'm just gonna guess here, 4 or 5 importers, and 3 out of the 5 really didn't take me seriously. Not because of, you know, how much money I wanted to throw down on it, just because it's a car, rare car. It's gonna be expensive, and you got to come out of pocket with all that money. So I'm gonna get into the nitty-gritty right now. So whenever you import a car, one of the steps that you have to do is you have to talk to somebody, you have to give them their budget, and you have to go through them, and they source you a car. And for, I don't know, like, we'll say a modest fee, say like 5 grand. You put down 5 grand so that they know you're serious, you know, and they start looking. It's a portion of whatever, you know, money that the car is actually gonna cost in the long run anyway. So all that money, that 5 grand, goes towards the car anyway. So I'm actually not going to tell you how much I paid for the car, because if one day I actually want to sell it, which I have no intention on selling, I don't want somebody to be like, oh, well, you only paid this much, or whatever the case is, you know. So I don't like to, you know, put the cost out there. So it's tacky anyway. So it's one of those things. So anyway, but I gave, you know, this company, you know, a couple companies what I wanted to pay, and I told them that I wanted a legal car, the earliest I can get one. And obviously I didn't really want an R33 or R32, I'm sorry. I like the R32s, but there's only one color that I would really want, and it's that, like, I think it's called TR1. It's like a dark navy blue. I saw one from one importer that I contacted, and they just wanted way too much money for that car that they had. So I didn't, you know, I went with somebody else. So on to my next thing. Whenever you contact, you know, whatever importer, they ask you for a deposit, and then they source your car. Once you find a car that you're actually, you know, you're into, you like, or whatever the case is, me being this one, what they do is they go through and they show you all the pictures that you know, over in Japan, every picture underneath the hood, the trunk, inside, dashboard, like, you name it. Like, I got pictures from everywhere, every direction, up, down, left, and right. Now I'm not gonna mention what the importers that I didn't go with, but who I did go with was Right Hand Drive Specialties. I contacted these guys and I gave them my budget, and they sourced this car for me. It was literally that easy. I put down my money to show them that I was serious, and this is what's gonna scare people. So once you actually put the money down, say on this car, because that's what I did, the next part is that you need to pay it off in full. Now I know that's scary depending on, like, you know, whatever you have as far as your budget, but you need to send this company whatever money, you know, whatever X amount of dollars that it costs to get this car. So say it's, I don't know, we'll say a round number, 10 grand, and you gave him 5 grand for the car down. You need to give them the extra 5 grand to finish paying off the car before they put it to the side in Japan, because that's how the rules are. You have to buy the car outright before they actually, like, put the car to the side for you. So I know that that's scary for a lot of people, but for the wife and I, we've been saving for this car. You know, like, if you knew me before the channel, you knew that I had, I don't know, 3-4 STIs before this, and at least 2 or 3 Evos. And what I did was I bought them as shells, rolling shells. I fixed them and I sold them. I sold them all, and I made my money to buy this car. That was the whole purpose of me selling those cars. I plan on getting back into it, but as of right now, like, I don't really, you know, I'm trying to focus on doing my YouTube thing and this. So my next car will probably be in a little while. But on to, you know, you put your 5 grand down, you paid the rest of the 5 grand. Now these guys over at Right Hand Specialties, Carlos is the man. Everybody over there at Right Hand Drive Specialties, Carlos and Nick, they took care of me back, front, upside, you know, down, backwards, you know, like everything I ever wanted. You know, like, you wanted a picture of this wheel, any curb rash on this wheel, which I do have, he took pictures of it. You know, since Japan is I think it's a day ahead. Don't be mad at me if I'm wrong. I think that's what it is. I think it's a day ahead. So any pictures that he would have needed, you know, if I asked him for something at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, it would take 24 hours for me to get those pictures, but he would get those for me, like, no problem. Like, it would be 1 in the morning and he would get those, you know, pictures to me, or videos, or whatever the case is, any time of the day, any time of the week, all the way up until it got onto the boat. I was actually asking for pictures. And you know what? I think I probably have in my portfolio for this car, just from Right Hand Drive Specialties, at least 200 to 250 pictures before it even left the port. So, and then once it, you know, came stateside, I got a whole nother 100 pictures, you know, like, so it was one of those things. Anything I ever wanted, you know, like, cold start, you know, at whatever time, like 11 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, cool, whatever, like, they'll get it for you, because they wanted that customer, like, you know, that bond, you know what I mean? Hey, you should trust us. And you know what, I'll give my money to them again, in which I plan on giving my money to them in the next car I import, because I have something in the noggin already. I already got something already in the works. So stay tuned to that. Like, whenever I get the okay and I start that whole process, because it'll be probably another year or so before I can actually even look at the car to get, you know, get it set to the side, because they say a maximum of a year is probably the best way to do it. So, you know, the car that I want is like a 98 to 99, so I gotta wait a couple more years before I can actually put the money down to put one of those cars aside. So, but again, the process is exactly the same. You put your money down, and whatever you want, they kind of look for it for you. My specification was, I wanted something white, and it had to have wheels and maybe a couple light mods. That's it. Like, this was like not supposed to be something like as you see here, because this thing came with everything. It came with a boost controller, it came with wheels, it came with suspension, Cusco suspension, it came with like old logo Nismo gauges, like you name it, it's got parts for days, you know. Like, so I got really lucky on this. So, and you know what, like, I'm now part of a community that's really, really, really small. So the first two in the country legally, well, when I say legally, I mean under the 25-year-old, let's just put it like that. My car, and I have a buddy of mine, he lives in Virginia, Cruise Daily. He's, you know, me and him, we got our cars together the same day, you know, it came on the port. So we found out who each other were, and we became tight, son. We became tight. So it's good, you know what I mean? Like, and it's been really, really awesome. But the next part, after you get the car to port, they have to go through and they inspected everything. I guess there was a clutch line issue or something like that. So easy fix, you know. I think it was like maybe they had to bleed it or something like that, or whatever the case is. So it was really, really easy to do. Then they washed it, waxed it, did all that stuff, made it look pretty. I think they went over everything just to make sure it was like pretty road legal. And next thing you know, like, all I had to do is you know, wait for the transport truck. The transport truck is what people, let me tell you something. The transport truck killed me, because they told me right off the jump, oh, it's no show, it's Danny boy, it's Danny boy. So listen, the transport truck was way worse than anything from Japan, because, all right, the place that I went to, Right Hand Drive Specialties, is actually in Kent, Washington. So Washington State. So you're talking from Japan to Kent, Washington, a 10-day travel between the two. And it took longer for my trailer with this car on it to get to me than it is from Japan to the States. It was just ridiculous. So it probably took 3 weeks, if I had to guess. 3 whole weeks before I got my car. No, it was 2 weeks, probably 2 weeks. 2 weeks to actually get my car, and it was the hardest 2 weeks of my life, because I knew it was on the way.
Oh, shut the hell up.
The hardest 2 weeks of my life, because I knew it was on the trailer, I knew it was on its way, and I really wanted to be, like, I wanted to be during the day. So I guess with trucker hours and stuff like that, you could only be on the road for so long. I'm pretty sure that's accurate or whatever, but the truck driver was 5 hours away when he finally called me and told me he was going to be coming the next day, and I was ready to drive down there and drive it back myself. But I waited the next day, and he came 7 o'clock at night, and you know, you saw the video. It was at night, it wasn't really that good, but I got the car. It was real nice, you know. Danny boy was here, like the wife was here, and that's kind of like how it goes. Now whenever you get the car here, that's a whole nother animal. So you have to wait. So I got the car sometime in January, towards the end of January. Now mind you, like, Right Hand Drive Specialties got it the first week of January. I got it the 3rd week of January, so 2 weeks or so. I had to wait 5 weeks to get the title. Now the title was in their name. I had to transfer it over to my name in my state, which is really weird since there's no VIN tags, no VIN plates or anything like that, and it's only like an 11-digit like VIN. On the bulkhead of every single car, there's a indentation of what the model is, so I had to etch that in, and then I could go and get registration, plates, and all that stuff, as long as you have insurance. Now insurance, a whole nother animal. So I can only drive this thing 5,000 miles a year. I have it covered under I think Grundy insurance, so nothing too crazy. It's really cheap because nobody would insure it because they've never seen the VIN, they don't know what car it is, they don't know anything. So I'm stuck with 5,000 miles, at least for the first year. But it was cheap, like I can drive it. I don't really drive it a lot, so you know, like I just try to enjoy the car whenever I can, you know, like, and today is really sunny, really nice. You know, me, No Show Rob, and Danny Boy here, we all got to work early, so I just decided, you know what, let's make a video, you know. So that's the whole process, really, you know, like once you get your plate, you're good. I'm actually still waiting for my official registration, just because I'm pretty sure they had to go through and they had to, yeah, what is this, you know, this is kind of funny, it is only 11 digits or 12 digits or whatever it is, so they have to go through and they have to research what it is, how it can be, like, you know, why is it here, you know, all that jazz. So I'm still waiting for my official, like I said, registration, and then once I get that, then I can get my custom plate, because I can't even do anything without my title or without my registration. So as of right now, I'm just still waiting. But that's really the process. It's really not that difficult. But like I said before, I do want to thank these guys over at Right Hand Drive Specialties. They did a fantastic job. Like I said before, like, they called me and I can call them at any time of the day, night, evening, afternoon, like you name it. Carlos and those guys over at Right Hand Drive Specialties, they picked up the phone and they spoke to me for hours if I really needed to. So, and in one of their texts, I cannot remember his name, but like, he was crucial. Like, he told me a couple things about the car I had no idea about, you know, like I had to do my research on this VCAM thing that I had no idea about, which this car came with. And it's, hey, I got it from Japan like that, so hey, I'm not mad at all. So very happy. But like I said before, I want to thank my wife as well, because she was definitely the one that you know, helped me out with this. Like, we needed everything quick, fast, in a hurry, and we got it. We got everything. So again, like I said, if you had the opportunity to purchase your dream car, would you do it? This is where I'm going to leave the video off. I'll holla at you on the next one. Deuces.